Hola, me llamo Jamie, and welcome back to More Than a Tourist Argentina, the only online video series dedicated to teaching Argentine Spanish. In this first course, La Pronunciación, I teach you how to pronounce Spanish like an Argentine native. This is the third of a 3-video course, so check out the first 2 if you haven't yet already. In Lección 3, we learn el acento, or the accent. By the end of this lesson, you'll know which syllable to stress within every word in Castellano. You'll be able to pronounce any Spanish text like an Argentine native, even if you don't know what it means. First, let's take another look at las vocales in Castellano. Remember, we only have 5 vowel sounds: a, e, I, o, and u. When we talk about syllables, we're actually talking about a single vowel sound surrounded by its consonants. When there's only one vowel sound surrounded by consonants, it's easy to distinguish between the syllables. So we have these 2-syllable words: gato, perro, sino, and uva. But in Castellano, not all vowels are created equal. We have 3 strong vowels: a, e, and o, and 2 weak vowels: I and u. When any of these vowels appear alone between consonants, they form their own syllables. But the tricky part is when we have 2 vowels next to each other. Then we have to follow these rules. The first rule is when we have a strong vowel and a weak vowel next to each other. The strong vowel dominates the weak vowel and kind of takes over the syllable. It's not quite one syllable, but it isn't 2 either. It's what we call a diphthong. An example would be aire, where the a is a lot stronger than the I. We also have a word like pausa. Notice that it doesn't matter if the strong or the weak vowel comes first. For example, we have bien and abuela, where the e still dominates the syllables. Second, if you have 2 weak vowels next to each other, then they share the syllable. So we have a word like ciudad, which is 2 syllables, ciu and dad. We also have fluir, which is technically only 1 syllable. And third, if we have 2 strong vowels next to each other, they form 2 distinct syllables. So we have a word like paseo, which is 3 syllables, and teatro, which is also 3 syllables. Finally, we look at las reglas de pronunciación, the rules of pronunciation. How do you know which syllable to stress? Well, there are only 3 simple rules. The first is, if the word ends in a vowel, an N or an S, the stress falls on the second to last syllable. So this first word is conejo. Try to pronounce the following words before you hear me say them, following this rule. Araña, leche, vivas, papas, moscas, hablan, comen, viajan. Second, if the word ends in any consonant other than N or S, the accent falls on the last syllable. So this first word would be corral. Pronounce these next words before you hear me say them. Ciudad, reloj, collar, eficaz, perros. The last rule is that when either of the first 2 rules are broken, you'll see an accent mark. The accent mark will go over the strong vowel within the accented syllable, or if a weak vowel is becoming its own syllable, the accent mark will go over that weak vowel. So for example, we have the word televisión, which ends in an N. If it ends in an N, we expect the second to last syllable to be stressed. So it would go something like televisión. But the word has evolved where the last syllable gets stressed. So we see the accent over the O, the strong vowel in that syllable, televisión. We also have the word país, where there's an accent mark over the weak vowel I to indicate that it's its own syllable. So we pronounce it país. That's the end of Curso 1, La Pronunciación. Now you can pronounce any Spanish text like an Argentine native, even if you don't know what it means. From here, check out Curso 2, titled Spanish You Already Know. Here, you'll learn over 250 words in Castellano, and learn the secret for learning hundreds more on your own. You'll also be able to express many complex ideas in basic ways. Hasta la próxima!